Mr. Kaczewski. First of all, I would like to thank, like Adam already mentioned, the Hungarian presidency, and more specifically the Hungarian MOD for hosting this conference in this very magnificent building, the Stefani Palace, and with these very major topics on dependencies. In your package that you got at the registration, you will find the usual program, list of participants, but also a USB key where you will find the different presentations that have been received up to now and that we presented today. And we have also took the opportunity, thanks to the Hungarian MOD, to put the first edition of our 2011 R&T brochure on delivering technologies for capabilities, as you will find our activities in the R&T domain, what we are doing at EDA. You will also find in the package a sheet where we will ask you to put questions or to put proposals, just as was mentioned at the beginning, that during the panel session for the way ahead, we'll need to have more of the proposal from all of you. So I really would like everybody to take part in this conference, to ask questions, and to make proposals so we can have really concrete suggestions and recommendations by the end of tomorrow. I will start by setting the scenes and, of course, reminding that we will have sub-sessions to really address concrete material this afternoon in the three main domains, which are components, which are the materials, and devices. Just following one of the points that Adam already mentioned about the US, we intending, in fact, to have a keynote also from someone from the US to present their policy in the domain, because there have been quite important decisions in these countries, and we thought that it could be a good opportunity for them. Unfortunately, they were not able to attend, but I just mentioned these on this slide that, of course, they are very strong in this domain, and their policy is really something that we should look at it and wonder why this should not happen we should not apply also to EU. And I think by tomorrow we will answer that it should apply to the EU. Adam also mentioned this dramatic event in Japan, and this dramatic event in Japan just reminds us that it could really have dramatic consequences on some of the technologies that we are using here. And I just put a few words on that, but probably we have not yet seen the consequences right now, but in the coming weeks we'll see that some of the components will miss. It could be not only in the automotive or in the different domains, but probably also in some of our defense area we will need, and we'll see that some of the electronics or components in the computers or components in the different system will have some consequences. So that's just to remind us that what we are addressing today in the conference is really a vital way for the future for Europe. So what is this issue about? This issue on technology non-dependence, as you may know, for the past years, more and more microelectronic fabrics drain to the Asia. We have also another topics which is about rare earths and material dependencies, and it was really stressed some time ago with these dependencies from China. There is a number that it could be more than 90% are under the control of China, and the Commission organized about a month ago a conference on that specific topics together with the US. Of course, we have all these policies and export restrictions. Everybody knows ITAR, but we know also, in referring to Japan, that there could be some ethic code, and some of the component could be really a consequence of not exporting to some application. The question of valley of death will be addressed by some of my following speakers this morning. We can be very good and very strong in research and valuable consumers, but we have also to take care of the transition between the research to really the development, which is the place where we need to invest quite a lot to be able to have the production in Europe. Of course, skills, know-how is a real question for Europe, and all over the global high-tech supply chain, as it was taken, as I said. So these questions really put us in front of us on this really important topic for Europe. Some definitions on non-dependence, on independence, of what the Commission is calling key enabling technologies, and among those key enabling technologies, of course, the critical one that could really achieve cutting-edge capability. For defense, we can think of electronic warfare, for example, and many times, I'm sure, during today and tomorrow, gallium nitride will be mentioned, and we know that some of this component is really the key element for the next generation of electronic warfare, of radars, and really way to achieve the right performance and to be able to do it on a European basis and not dependent on some outside sources. Some of the questions now on the rationale on the political dimension. Of course, CSDP, Common Security and Defense Policy, requires both military and civilian capability mission support. R&D and development continuously enables new and improved military capabilities. So this leads, of course, to unrestricted access to needed technologies is a precondition for high-quality technology-based capability development. On the economical dimension, of course, we all know the budget constraint, and specifically the one on defense, but the overall financial crisis with this national limited budget, and of course, to avoid duplication is really a key point. European industry requires affordable technologies and reliable supply chains. So all of all, the availability of affordable cutting-edge and critical key enabling technologies is really a basis for industry to achieve these technologies-led and competitiveness. At the European level, I will not, of course, make a complete presentation because we will have Mr. Rainer Schulte-Brooks and Mr. Tobiat and Mr. Katina, who will make some specific presentation from the Commission point of view, from the ESA point of view. But just to remind you that we launched more than a year ago this critical space technologies task force for European strategic non-dependence. And up to now, we have been already having some very good results, both on the side of the Commission, on the side of ESA, and also on some of our projects that were complementary each of the other. I mentioned already this initiative from the Commission, and Mr. Katina will develop tomorrow this initiative on key enabling technologies. And as I also already mentioned, this raw material policy at the European level, also led by DG Enterprise. So what is missing? We have these sectorial examples, but of course we have no European framework strategy and policy for these technology non-dependencies. Bigger nations could have national strategies for funding and when they can afford it. And tomorrow, I'm sure Blandine Masson-Ronchon and Gianpaolo Lillo, both R&D director for France and Italy, will mention some of their initiatives in this domain. Most nations have to live with these technologies due to high cost because they are not able, in fact, to really invest in those technologies. Now, let's have a look to the industrial point of view. Industry and research base. We'll have just following me Mr. Peter Inzels from the Hungarian Academy of Science will make the presentation, and after the break we'll also have some other presentation from Mr. Heinz Kundert from CMI, Peter Colling from ASD, and tomorrow Mr. Gerhard Sedel from Fraunhofer Institute, who will specifically more address those topics. Industrial and research base, mainly on restricted access to technology, the lack of specific know-how, and of course, the lack of specific ability in assessment and validation of technologies. Capability to design and fabricate those key technologies is fundamental to the economy and security in Europe. sorry for the typo and fundamental. Of course, we mean design, knowledge, skills, tools, know-how, production, etc., to really focus on this increase in technology non-dependence. A few figures of comparison between the US and the EU. On the overall budget of defense spending, the ratio is about 2.5, 2.6, which is not that dramatic, but when we are going more deeper in research and technology, which is a little bit worse, but where it is really dramatic is when we compare the development. And the development, as I said, is really this key element where we are going from research to really prepare the product. And that's the place where the investments are really key, because it's, of course, very important to start science at the beginning to get those technologies, but if you are not able to transform them in real product, we are not at the end of the road, and we are just in the middle. And that effort of development is really key, and you see that for the past years, and those figures are from 2009, but I could have take them in the year before, and they were probably even worse the year before, that this effort is really, really big ratio of 1 to 7, which is, of course, kind of dramatic, without, in fact, saying that even in Europe we are still very fragmented. That means it can be worse than 1 to 7 because there can be some kind of duplication from state to state. The stakeholders already mentioned almost all of them. Of course, the member states, the European Commission, ESA, EDA, the industry, the research community. And as I said, we will have representatives from all of those stakeholders all along those 2 days. And I think that's really this comprehensive approach that could really bring to some really strong actions and strong recommendations that we will see tomorrow. From now, on the EDA perspective, I will now more focus on our activity in EDA. Of course, we have been identifying this topic as a really high priority in consultation with member states, which is our shareholders, of course, and we are only working where member states want us to work. It's not only a defense issue, but it's really a strategic European issue, not only military, but space, security, and I'm sure some other values could be also addressed to that. And Mr. Katina will probably show us tomorrow that the Commission is really aware of those really big issues. What is our EDA approach? We have been identifying different topics of non-dependencies through our CAPTEX, which is our technological domains, with experts to really assess what are these critical components and areas where we need to focus. We have determined also our priorities through our strategic research agenda. We have done already a few of them, and we are also in the way of having the full mapping of all the CAPTEX with strategic research agenda, and of course from all of them we will detect the different areas where we have this issue of non-dependence. We have also EDA studies on this domain of addressing key European defense technological and industrial dependencies. And last but not least, the EDTIB strategy, the European Defense and Technology Industrial Base. Of course, that's a very strong partner inside EDA. And John Matthewsy from Industry and Market Directorate tomorrow will, of course, introduce these topics and make the relation with key industrial capabilities and the recognition for the need of less dependence on source of supply, which is, of course, a really important topic. Just to remind you our objectives when we are addressing R&D specific topic at EDA. Of course, we are capability driven, so it's really to fulfill medium to long-term defense capability needs. We have to focus on agreed priorities because we can't address all the technologies we have in front of us, but only focus on what we agreed as priorities. EDA is able to manage and coordinate projects on behalf of member states, and of course the promotion of less dependence on critical key technology is one of our main drivers. These works on R&D of course contribute to build this competitive European technology industrial base, including also SMEs and research centers, and that's always been our aim to really detect some SME niches where we have these very important technologies that we need for our systems. And of course, the research centers are also a good network that we need to put in the loop. And finally, the increase of collaboration, synergies with the Commission. We have started this European framework cooperation together with the Commission and ESA. And of course, for the moment, a strong relation with the security program of the Commission, and as I mentioned already, the critical space technologies that we are doing with ESA. Just a slide to remind you that EDA is capability driven, so our main goal is of course the capability needs in both the long-term vision and what we call the capability development plan, which is really the place where we can have the priorities defined by our operational colleagues. And from that, we can identify technological gaps and opportunities where we know that the systems have to be more performant, so where we need more technologies to make them more performant. And that's related to our priorities on R&D. And among them, we identify those key technologies and skills, and finally, underpin technologies where we can really have our R&D project to help to solve one of these problems of this technology non-dependence. Just a slide I will not mention to remind you that the 22 areas of priorities, you will find them in your packet on the USB key, so I don't want to mention it. Some of the examples that will be developed this afternoon, that will be developed with some other of the speakers today. On the FPGA, we are no relevant EU source for the moment. It's very dependent of complex systems. It could be on aircraft, it could be on weapon systems, or even a new generation of radio systems, which are software-defined radio. All those issues are really strong for Europe in front of us. Carbon fiber in the domain of material. Of course, it's really a risk for secure supply. Printed circuit board. All the fabs are moved primarily to Asia. Even the US have some problems now in printed circuit board, so it's really a real challenge for the supply chain. And as I already mentioned, the gallium nitride technology, where we have started this issue a few years ago already, and we are right now in the moment where we will need to go through this test valley. That means that we will need to invest quite a lot to be able to make the research that we did in the previous year really a success for the coming years. Current activities that we have in EDA, which are focusing on dependencies, or non-dependencies, I would say. We launched a few weeks ago a study called Addressing Key European Defense Technological and Industrial Dependencies. It will be deeply presented by Jan-Olof Lind, the R&D Director of Sweden and also R&D Director of FOI, and it is a consortium led by FOI, so Jan-Olof will make more deep presentation of that, but I won't say more. We have also pilot project under the Key Industrial Capability Works, both in future air systems, with a focus on unmanned aerial system and helicopters, and you know that how sensitive this question of UAS is for Europe. And the second one is on ammunition precision guidance with a focus on precise guidance. Conducting or planning studies for future topics. Printed circuit board, we will launch pretty soon an OB studies in EDA on that topics. There will be some on metamaterial, on mixed signal technologies, etc. So it's really a lively domain where we are trying to invest quite a lot of energy and money from EDA. As a conclusion, we just to mention a few points that I've been addressing now, but will be deeply addressed in the coming speaks. Strategic issue of high priority, so mentioned that it's really cost dimension of basic technologies, and all those shrinking budget in Europe really are a question that we have to solve all together. We have these growing technologies dependencies, which is not a defense issue, which is more a strategic issue for Europe. And finally, as I said, to really address a comprehensive strategy on that domain. That needs coordinated initiative at European levels. First of all, but that's probably the more easiest part, is identification and prioritization. But next is a roadmap and action plan, and that's where we will see if we succeed, if we are able in Europe to prepare and to really implement roadmaps and action plan in this domain for the coming years. Already EDA take actions by conducting, as I said, sectorial studies and investigation in key areas. And of course, we are ready to take further action, but we need also coordination with all the stakeholders, and that's really a key point I want to stress here. So, as a last point, I think an overall strategy and policy on European technology non-dependence is needed, and I really urge you to contribute to this discussion in the coming 2 days. Both in the plenary session, there will be questions, and sub-session, of course, to really prepare what will be our conclusion tomorrow for the recommendation. Thank you for your, and see you.